good morning from Skye. This morning I'm at the Koran and I made it here in about 5 minutes before sunrise. So I took the sun rising off to the left of me here. And it was just a stunning sunrise, you know. I was thrilled to be here. It's a magnificent landscape. And I've come down now to a tree that emerges here. It's hanging onto the rock at the side of this ravine here. I'm working with two filters on it. Now the risk with this is I've a 2-stop soft and a 2-stop medium. Now the risk with doing this is that the top of the tree will be darkened. And just to cover off the eventuality of not being able to retrieve some detail in the tips of the tree, I've also taken the shot without any filter and bracketing. And I've bracketed throughout the morning, and it's always a good move, wise move to bracket when you've got such a disparity between the sky, so bright, and the landscape. But as you can see here, that green landscape is just lighting up beautifully. So I'm not sure where I'm off to next. I'm going to go back to the car and have a cup of tea and a well-earned sandwich. I'm just going to enjoy this landscape for a few hours and try to shoot a few alternative shots than the standard ones that I've gone for on my first visit to Skye here. So there it is. Well, it's about 20 minutes after sunset, and I'm here at the East Point lighthouse. It is truly an epic location. Unfortunately, the light hasn't played ball with me this evening. It's been grey for the past hour and a half, and after the wonderful light I had this morning in the Koran, it really doesn't matter, because to take the couple of shots I got from the Koran this morning out of any day taking photographs is just magnificent. So it's enough for me just to be here, to be at East Point, and to see the immense scale of the cliff that hangs over the lighthouse, and the lighthouse itself is quite substantial. Instead of taking the standard shot at the top of the cliff, I've climbed down to the base here, and just to get a little bit closer and to get some of the rocks in the water and the waves crashing on them. So I'll leave it there for this evening. I'm going to head back to Breakish, and tomorrow morning it's going to be the Old Man of Storr, so a good 1-hour hike in the dark. That's good. Oh, good morning. Good morning from Skye. It's 4:40. I'm up out of bed. I'm having a little bit of breakfast. I have some rashers and sausages that I cooked up last night, so I'm going to make myself some nice toasted sandwiches, because I'm off to the Old Man of Storr. I have an hour's hike, an hour's drive to get there, and I want to be up and have my camera and image composed when the sun rises at about 8:10. So I'll see you up there. So welcome to the Old Man of Storr. From the car park at sea level, it's about a 40-minute hike up. It's quite steep. I didn't find it easy, but I got up here be around an hour or so before the sunset. So you need a head torch for the first part of the walk, and then the sky an hour before sunset starts to brighten up, so you can remove the head torch about 20 minutes into the hike. When I arrived here, the light was just beautiful. The Old Man here behind me wasn't as such lit up at that stage, but the redness running along the ridge of the mountains towards the horizons was just magic. And I captured that from a viewpoint higher than here in a panorama shot, and just to show that tinge of red running along the actual mountains. Now, as the sun rose, the Old Man of Storr was lit up, but then the challenge of trying to manage the brightness of the sun in the camera lens was difficult. Now, I used graduated filters, up to 5 stops of graduated filters to try to do that. Now, the challenge in doing that is you're trying to ensure that the Old Man, the main feature in your image, isn't darkened from the middle area of the actual filter. So it was a matter of tilting filters and slightly adjusting exposures so that the sky wasn't blown out. Well, after the drama and the wind and the climb of this morning, I've descended the Old Man of Storr, and whilst driving along the road, I looked over my shoulder and found this beautiful composition. We have an island here in a lake, and the Old Man of Storr in the background. It's noon, there's a bright sky, but luckily enough the sun is behind the actual scene. It's lighting the scene directly from behind, which means there's no harsh highlights coming in from one side or the other. It's all coming from behind there. Now that creates beautiful reflections, as you see, in the lake here. So we have this little island and the Old Man of Storr behind. I'm shooting this with a Zeiss APO sonar 135mm lens. It's a very simple shot. As you can see, the sky and the lake are quite well balanced. There's not that much of a differential between the light on either. As well as that, it's just so peaceful here. There's nobody about. That's not to say there were many people at sunrise about the Old Man of Storr. I think there were 4 people up there, and it was a bit of banter to go with it. Well, my last stop on this trip, this fantastic trip to the Isle of Skye, is here at the magical ferry pools. But this very last waterfall, it's about a 40-minute walk from the car, is absolutely magnificent. The waterfall, the center of the waterfall frames the crack that runs up the mountain here just beautifully. The sun is about to set. I'm not going to get any light, I don't think, coming across the main mountain here. So this is the focal point. This is the mountain, I'm not sure of the name, with the crack running down it. And the center of the waterfall measures up to that crack as such. So basically you've got the breadth of the waterfall and the line across there. Luckily enough, there's a nice line running through the actual water underneath. I've no foreground here. I decided not to go back and use these stones. I used them initially, wetted them down to give them a nice gloss. I'm shooting with a polarizer just to deepen the water and to see through the water, and with various grads because I was blowing out the sky there. I'm praying for a bit of cloud to come over there, but I don't think so. Unusually, there isn't a cloud on the Isle of Skye today. Well, it's the final day of my trip to Glencoe and the Isle of Skye. I left the Isle of Skye this morning and had a beautiful sunrise lighting up the valley around Island Donnan Castle. So I've moved on now about half an hour up the road, and it's quite mild in November unusually, but I came across this valley that's full of hoarfrost and birch and alder trees, and I had to stop. It was just magnificent. The sun has just come over the mountains here, and I can actually see the water is now dripping off the trees. So you have this melt, you still have the frost, and I found a collection of trees, one prominent tree to the left of it, and I've focused on that, and the light's hitting it beautifully now. So I'm going to go and take that shot. I'm taking it at f9. I had to use a 5-stop or 4-stop filter, soft and medium together, just to take the just to darken down the mountain behind the actual trees. Now I'm going to crop the image slightly. I'm using a 135mm lens at f9 ISO 64, and I'm going to take that shot now. Beautiful.